Okay, hello again. So I was just changing a few things, testing a few things, just out of curiosity, and now in this video I would like to basically implement a camera movement system similar to the one that you have, or at least that we used to have, that there used to be in Cinema 4D, because it's a software I used a lot when I was in middle school, because I did some rigging, 3D, because I did 3D rigs for Minecraft, because I did some Minecraft animations, and also I did some Minecraft rigs, and I really like, and to me the camera movement system is really intuitive in Cinema 4D, and so I would like to try to do one that is somewhat similar. Not necessarily the same, but somewhat similar. And for that, I'm gonna get my inspiration from, my ideas from this example here, 3D camera free. I've already looked at it because I was just thinking about some stuff earlier, and it made me click on it just to see how it works. So yeah, and then afterwards I think I'm gonna do 3D picking, where, if I'm not mistaken, when you click on it, when you click on the cube, basically it's like you just selected it. I feel like this could be a useful thing to know how to do. So yeah, that is the plan. So let's do this. So here, if I look at this here, so I can use the mouse wheel to zoom in and out, okay, and mouse wheel pressed to pan. Ooh. I think I understand what it does, but it's my mouse is doing something else, so it's not really behaving the way I would really want it to, or the way it's supposed to behave, at least, probably. But I think I understand what's going on. And so then press Z to zoom to 0, 0. So, okay. I see, so, and then I can just move freely with my keyboard. Okay, cool. So let's see, if I look at the code here, so the way it works is, so at first this target is just the center of the grid, right? And then this doesn't change from what we already have. It's just that the cube position here is the same, and then disable cursor to limit the cursor to relative movement inside the window. Okay. And then when Z is pressed, it resets the target to 0, 0, 0. And when, so we've got an update camera function that takes in the address of the camera, and it has a camera mode, so camera free, which I guess is free movement. And so let's see. Free camera default controls wheel to move in and out. Okay, so let's try this out. So I guess all I need to do here is have disable cursor. So let's do it right before set target FPS. So let's disable cursor here, and and here I guess we should call update camera. So update the object properties. Let's do it here. Let's do update camera. So let's send in the address of camera, and then mode. So camera free, I suppose. Okay. Right. Well, that went pretty fast. Now if I use the mouse wheel, so indeed I'm zooming on here. If I press, let's see, what are the default controls? Mouse wheel pressed. So if I click on the mouse wheel, let's see what happens. I'm not sure I understand what's going on. Yeah, I'm not sure about what's supposed to happen here, but oh, I see. No, actually nothing's really happening. Right, so so this works really well, and when I press on left control I go down, when I press on space I go up, and then I can use W, S, D, and A to just move around, or I can also... No, I can't use the arrows actually. I mean, I can use them, but they don't do much. And then when... Okay, so I see how this works. Now let's see what different modes do. So we have camera free, camera first person. Let's see what this does. Camera first person. Right, so first person can just go forward and backward and to the sides. Seems to be it. Cannot zoom either. So basically, if I'm doing a first-person shooter or an FPS game, first-person game, that's what I would like to use. The name is pretty straightforward. Camera, first-person, free, orbital. Orbital, I think I've tried it out. Yeah, basically it's just orbiting, and when I press on the keyboard or whatever, nothing happens. It's just orbiting around the target. So if I want to do just animations, where basically I'm not like inputting anything, I'm not doing anything, I just wanted to rotate around a certain target, and I'm going to use camera orbital. So that's pretty straightforward. Camera, let's see, third person. So I think this is going to be explicit. Basically, I'm just going to move as if I was third person, and when I move like that, so the camera target is going to move as well. So for third person games, I guess that's pretty good. Right. Well, I think third person is probably one of the best ways to... Right, and I can zoom. And then there's a limit to how much I can zoom. But I think third person is the best way to go about moving around the camera in this game. I mean, in like a free world where it's not a game but just like a spectator. Yeah, it gives a lot of freedom. And I can zoom and all that. I think I like this a lot. If I just want to navigate. Is there anything else? Camera or orthographic? I'm not sure what that means. Right. So what is the difference between this and a free camera? Not sure. I actually am not sure, but I actually like it a lot as well. Let's try camera free again, see what this does. Camera free, is it the same? I mean, to me it seems like it's the same. I'm not sure what the difference is. Oh, this is bugged out for some reason. Okay. Well, and now if I do, so camera custom. Right, and now nothing really happens. Okay. And now if I do camera custom and I have enable cursor, I'm guessing I'm just going to have my cursor. Oh right, I guess I'm supposed to not have it here. I'm going to disable it and enable it. So basically these lines are useless, but just to see if that does work indeed. Alright, so basically, so that's how you do this. That's how you move around with Raylib. So I would be really interested in like creating my own camera movement system, because right now I'm just using the camera modes that already exist with the library. But I would really like to figure out the math behind the camera movements myself. I would like to do it myself. I'm not going to do it here because I don't want to do it right here and now. I'll do it at some point, but it could be an interesting project to just come up with the math and try to do it on my own. But okay, so I think I understand how it works. So now let's try to do a very small project. What can I do? What can I do? Let's do something like... by default I'm just like this, and then if I want to make it a little bit like Cinema 4D, basically I want it to become a third-person camera. When I press on left alt and left click and then move it around, then it's like I become third person. So camera, I think it's third person, yeah, exactly. And so basically when I press on left and okay, so I'm keeping the camera here, that's pretty good. I can still move here. Right, so I'm gonna press on alt and left click, then I can move this way. Sure, I can use a mouse wheel or whatever, but I don't know if I can really disable that. If I look at the camera properties, yeah, I guess I could lock the... the... not the field of view, but position. No, not the position. If I wanted to make it impossible to zoom or whatever, I would have to, yes, lock the position, surely, and other stuff, but I think it would make it needlessly complicated. I think it would be more practical to come up with my own camera mode, created on my own, figuring out the math myself, and then just applying it and making it so that I want it to be exactly the way I want it to be, instead of like using the camera third person mode and then adding my own constraints. It doesn't sound like a very interesting project. Okay, so let's do small project. Well, basically when I do alt and left click, I have the Cinema 4D mode. And then, yeah, let's just do that first. So I guess I'm gonna have a variable called basically camera mode, which is going to have a certain value. So by default it's going to be... Right, so let's disable the cursor, and here let's have something called... so this is a camera mode. So camera mode is going to be equal to camera custom at first, and so this is just going to be camera mode, and here we're going to have the part where we do handle inputs, and basically if is key down key left alt, and is key down mouse left button, mouse left button, mouse button left. I'm not sure which one I should use. So key left, mouse button, I guess mouse button left. Then let's have camera mode be camera custom. So camera mode is going to be not camera custom but camera third person. And then when I release, it, so basically else, let's just have camera mode equal to camera custom. Let's see if this works. Okay, now I'm gonna press Alt and left click. Okay, so that didn't work. Maybe it has to do with that. Mouse left button. Oh, what is this defined? This is for backwards compatibility. Is this gonna work? Maybe I should do key pressed instead of key down. Right, so let's do mouse button left. I think that's better. Camera third person. What is the value of this? This is 4 and this is 0. Let's try something here. Let's print out camera mode, basically. Just see what it gives us. It should just be a bunch of zeros right now, and then when I do Alt and left click, nothing happens. Alright, so let's just do one by one. Is key pressed, button left. Nothing happens. Now let's do is key down. Right, nothing happens. Now let's do key Alt or left Alt. Right, so this works. But for some reason not the left click. And is mouse button. Oh, it's because I used is key down, but I should be looking. Okay, because I used the wrong function. My bad. Right, beginner mistake. Is mouse button pressed? And now I do mouse button left. Or is mouse button down here? I'm supposed it exists. Yes, it does. And now it should work. Right, so now this works. But I guess my only issue here is that so I'm not going to disable the cursor by default, but I am going to disable it here, disable cursor when I'm using the third person camera. So by default I'm not going to disable anything, but then enable cursor. I think that's a bad idea, isn't it? Yeah, that's a bad idea. Okay, how can I separate it so that it only happens once? Right, let's just do it the easy way. Let's add a boolean called should disable cursor, and by default it's going to be equal to false. And then if should disable cursor equal to false, then we're going to set it to true. And here let's do it the other way around. Basically here, if should disable cursor is equal to basically here we want the cursor to be enabled. So if should disable cursor is equal to true, we're going to set it to false. Do you see the problem the way I do? Because basically here if I do right, so maybe I should do it here. Disable cursor, maybe I should do it here. And then here I do enable cursor. Simple as that. So I could just see if this works by compiling it and then just seeing if it works. But let's think about it instead. Try to imagine what's going to happen when I run it. So basically by default this is false, and so I'm always going to go in this else condition, well not condition but yeah, in this part of code. And so if this is going to be false, so we're not going to go in here and we're just going to have camera mode equal custom. Okay. So I guess I can just have this here. And I guess I could just have an else if should disable cursor equal true here, but I think it makes more sense to leave it this way, easier to read or to understand what's going on. And so by default this is not going to come in here, and it's going to be camera custom. Then when we do so left alt plus bottom left button on the mouse, then we're going to go through here. We're going to disable the cursor and set should disable cursor to true and then we're going to set the camera mode to third person. Right, and I think we just need to do it once. We only need to do it once. And now once I release left alt and mouse, or just one of them, then we're going to go back to here, and so should disable cursor is going to be true, and so we're going to set it to false. We're going to set camera mode to custom again, and then enable cursor. And now we're always going to go into this part of the code, but once we've come here one time, we won't come here the next times. So we're just going to go through one time, and the next time anything is going to change is when we're going to press left alt and bottom left, and then we're going to come here. Right, so this should work from thanks to my analysis, this should work. Okay. It does! I feel like I'm in Cinema 4D. That's cool. Right. I'm happy with that. It's just that each time I release it, my cursor just goes back to the center, which isn't like really troublesome, really. But it's just not ideal. But I guess there's not much I can do about it because I only have disable cursor and enable cursor, right? Or maybe I should have hide cursor instead. Aha! And so if I have show cursor? Oh, I do actually. So let's replace hide cursor with disable cursor. So, I mean disable cursor with hide cursor, and this is going to be show cursor. Right. Well, I mean, it's not really showing the cursor. I mean, it's hiding it at first, but then it's not really showing it. What if I do enable cursor? What does it do? Yeah. But I wanted to show the cursor, right? Shows cursor. Yeah, okay. Is cursor hidden? Enable is cursor on screen. That's not really what I want to do. This should work. For some reason, the cursor stays hidden. Right, so I'm not really sure what to do. Should I just keep enable cursor and disable cursor? Yeah, I think I'll just do that for now. And it's not really a big deal if it goes back to the center all the time. And so when I do this, basically now I want to be able to use Alt and mouse wheel click to be able to just move left and right. But I'm not sure how I can do this with the camera modes that I have with Raylib. Because when I look at my options here, so I think I can remove this, and if I look at my options here, all I have is so first person, free, orbital, orthographic, perspective, third person. Perspective. What was perspective again? Perspective. I kind of forgot what perspective is. It's not gonna run. Camera. Is it not a camera mode? Oh no, it's camera projection. That's why. Okay. So camera. So yeah. So what I have is third person orbital free. So I guess I should just be content with what I have here. And now when I do this, I can just move it around here. Right. And let's make it so that let's make it so that I guess I can just do else if is key down, a key left alt, then all we're going to do is So we're going to follow the same logic here. And basically it's just that here it's going to be first person instead of third. Let's see how this works. Alright, that's cool. Right, but now I cannot go from here to here when I release it. Or maybe what I can do is go here, release, and now do... No, I can't. Right, I have to do left click first. Right, I have to consider more things if I want to be able to switch easily from here to here. I have to do it in one big condition and then do several other checks inside. Not really easy, like it's just messing with my brain. Okay. Right, so I can do that. Now let's do the thing where basically I can select the cube, and so basically the logic with that would be I have to... How would this work? So basically when I click on an object and I have to get the coordinates of my cursor, right? But then how do I know if I'm clicking on an object or not? Like what's going on behind the scenes? Well, what's going on is that when I left click on an object, I have to detect some sort of collision, right? But how would that work? How do I detect? How would Raylib detect that my left click is colliding with an object that's existing on the screen? I'm not sure. Right, so I have my cursor, I have the coordinates. I mean, I could just loop over all the pixels on screen and see if the pixel I'm clicking on is the pixel that is currently being rendered as part of an object that exists on the scene, but I feel like that wouldn't be very efficient. So I guess one other way to do it would be to let's see, 3D picking, Raylib. So I feel like it might do that. Ray collision, okay. Collision hit. Get ray collision. Check collision between ray and box. So it looks like basically it's going from the camera, and when you left click on something, so for example here or here, it emits a ray going from the camera towards where we clicked, and then it just checks if there's a collision between the cube and the rays that the camera emitted, and if there is, then the cube gets selected. The logic behind it doesn't seem too complicated. So get screen to world ray. I feel like the math behind this function is probably very interesting. I would be interested I would be interested to know what it looks like behind the scenes. Okay, so I think all I'm going to do is just when I click on it, when I click on the cube, I'm just gonna do draw cube wires. So by default it's not gonna have the wires, then when I click on it it's gonna have it. And so how does this work? There's ray and ray collision, and then get ray collision box. How does this work? Get ray collision sphere triangle mesh. Well, quad sphere. Okay, and box, bounding box. Right, and so bounding box. Let's go to the definition. Minimum vertex box corner. So if I look at this, minimum vertex box corner should be this part of the code. And so basically it's, okay, so it's a minimum, so basically where everything is a minimum, since it's a box, it can be defined as like the bottom left corner towards the negative in the z values, and the maximum vertex box corner could be the top right corner where the z values are going up. And so it can just be defined as that, where basically if we have these two values, these 2 points, then we can draw the cube easily by going here, 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 and okay, I'm making sense to myself. Okay, I'm understanding myself. Thank God I do, otherwise I'd be lost. Okay. Else collision. And so what is a collision? Ray collision. That's interesting. Ray collision. Ray collision, ray hit information. Did ray hit something? Okay. So that's what it's checking, right? Okay. Distance to the nearest hit. Oh, so the ray is going indefinitely. It's just... okay. Surface normal of hit. What is that? What does that represent? Surface normal. Of hit. Vector 3D. Right, so I'm just going to check something. Okay. Surface normal of hit. Point of the nearest hit. So that's pretty useful. Surface normal of hit. So what I can think of is what could that be? It's a vector, it's a three-dimensional vector. Surface normal of hit. Basically we have the hit point and we want the surface, so like it's like we have the plane. So if we look at the ray, we have the camera here and we have the ray going this way, and then there's a collision here, and basically surface normal of hit makes me think of like a surface that is basically perpendicular, or not perpendicular, but normal to the ray, which would be like that, and then just going indefinitely that way. But can it just be characterized by a three-dimensional vector? I guess so. Because if it goes this way and I just have a vector that basically just the arrow going this way, then the music went off. It's because my connection went off. That's possible. But then my vector only goes this way. Well, I can just characterize the entire surface by all that. But then I would need a position. Right, so if I have surface normal of hit, basically I have the angle and I have the point. So I can have the point here, like I can just have the point here, and the vector that goes this way, and from there I can just characterize the entire surface. I think that makes sense to me. I'm not sure if that makes sense to everyone, because my explanation is probably a little bit scuffed. Alright, so this stopped playing for some reason. Not sure why. Okay. Okay. And so let's try doing that. So we want a ray, and we want a ray collision. Okay, that's right. And we initialize them to 0, basically. Alright, so ray and ray collision collision equal to 0. Okay, cool. Ray and ray collision. That's fair enough. Okay. Now, what do I want to do? What I want to do is I want to draw the emit ray from the camera, right? But only when I'm left clicking, because otherwise I would always calculate the ray and it wouldn't be efficient. So I guess I can do it here. So if is mouse button down, mouse button left, or I guess pressed rather, then how do I calculate the ray? How is it done? Get screen to world ray. Get screen to world array. Okay, so let's just do. Right, so the logic here is if it's not a hit, so I hadn't thought of that like right 10 seconds ago, but I eventually would have realized that I needed to do it, so let's just do it right now. So if collision hit is equal to false, because it's a boolean, right? It's a boolean. Then ray is going to be equal to get screen to world. What is X position? So this takes position camera, and this takes position camera with height. Right, so it's like if I want my ray to be basically big, so like it gets emitted from the camera, but get screen to world ray. Oh, I get it. Okay. So it's like my camera is like this, and it's like I'm emitting a ray that goes this way. Like it's just a ray that actually has these dimensions, and it's moving in this way in the world. Whereas if I do X, so I define my width and height. So by default, the normal function get screen to world array is going to be like this. Well, basically the dimensions of the array are going to be screen height and screen width. but I can redefine that, and I can make it smaller if I want to. So I guess like a really small rectangle, and I guess I understand. Or maybe I don't. I'm not sure. But okay. So what is that? Get screen height. Great. Get screen to world 2D. Vector 2. Get screen to world ray. Get world to screen. I'm not sure I understand what all of these do. I'm not sure what all of these do. God damn, I'm easily confused. So the position is going to be... So the camera is going to be the second one I'm sending. So the position, I'm guessing, should be the position of camera target, maybe? No, mouse position. Mouse position. Right, I'm looking at the mouse position. And I'm sending it from the camera, so from the camera to where the mouse is pointing at. Okay, so get mouse position and camera, so camera, I guess. So collision hit is false. And so now what I want to do is collision, to give it a value, and do a get ray collision box. And it's going to be the ray and the bounding box. And so the bounding box is going to be... Right, so let's do bounding box cube bounding box, and I guess it's just going to be equal to I mean cube, what is that, cube size, no, okay, so it's going to be cube position x. Alright, let me just check again. Vector 3, so 2 vector 3s, okay. Right, so it has to be 2 vector 3s. Alright, so cube position x minus cube size x divided by 2 and basically I'm just going to, let's see, make it just y here, and here I'm gonna make it z. And I guess here I'm gonna make it so this was the minimum, and here let's make it a maximum, so plus. Huh. Alright, it's going to be more readable if I make it this way. Plus y. And here it's going to be z. Is this readable? I feel like it may not be the most readable code ever. Okay, but anyways, it's still going to be like that, and it works, I think. And so basically here, collision is just going to be equal to that, and otherwise, so if collision hit is equal to false, right? Otherwise, if it's equal to false, if collision hit is equal to false, then we're just gonna check the collision, and eventually if it's supposed to be equal to true, then it's going to be equal to true thanks to this. But otherwise, if collision is equal to true, then we shouldn't do anything. What happens here? Here, else collision hit is equal to false. I'm not sure why we have this here. I'm not sure why we have this here. If else collision hit is equal to false. So basically here collision hit is equal to false, and then here we're gonna get the collision, and if it collides, collision hit is going to be equal to true. But otherwise, if by default collision hit here is equal to true, then we're gonna set it to false. And we are clicking the mouse left button, so when I'm clicking the mouse left button, I want to check for the collision. Oh, so it's basically so that it resets. It shows that it resets. Okay, I see. And so here, let's just do collision hit equal to false. I understand. And so basically here it's just that if collision hit is equal to true, then we're going to do just that. Right? Let's think about it. Okay, so if there isn't anything, it just draws the cube this way, but otherwise it does that. And yeah, it draws the text with the collision hit. It checks for collision hit, and if there is, then it's going to draw the text. Okay, because this should work. Right, and so basically when I left click again on it, it resets. And that's what the collision hit equal to false did earlier, in the else part of the code, where when I wrote else collision hit equal to false. But do I really want that? I don't really want to do that, do I? I feel like this isn't necessary. Should work without. I mean, it's not going to do the same thing, but oh, no, actually. So collision hit is going to be equal to true, and I'm just voluntarily setting it to false. No matter what, when I'm clicking again. But what if I wanted to remain to true if I'm actually clicking on the it. So I guess I should do this. Right, so the cube bounding box is something that I can just put outside of the while loop. Right. And this, now this, I feel like I don't need this. I can just do that. What happens now? Nothing happens. So maybe I should calculate it again here. And now I check it again, and so if collision hit is equal to I'm getting confused. This is not going to change anything from right before, right? Sounds good. Huh. I'm just figuring out how this works. So if I look at this here, ooh, big mistake. I should keep it here because here I'm using cube position, so it always gets updated. Okay. So actually, let's just do it here. And do this here again. Or actually, now let's try it just here, like that. Alright, yeah, okay, cool. So basically now, it actually kind of works the way I was expecting it to work at first. Where when I click on it, it stays selected if I'm on it, but if I click somewhere else, then it doesn't get selected anymore. So I was getting confused, but the reason why I didn't work before is because I had taken this out of the game loop. Not very smart. But okay, and so now what I can do is I can do this. And if I want to optimize it a little, then I could make it so that when I'm doing Alt left click and my cursor happens to be on the cube, well, it doesn't become red, but it's not really that important. But okay, basically now I can move around here and I can click on the cube, and yeah, that's pretty cool. So this video, I didn't write a lot of code. I didn't write a lot of code in this video. I was just finding out how things work. I mean, figuring out how things work. But I did, I think, learn a lot about cameras and ray collisions in Raylib. So I'm pretty happy with that. And in the next video, I'm gonna try to do a 3D camera first person. I'm gonna try to just build a small 3D world. This doesn't seem too difficult to do. So if I press on WASD, yeah, I can move around. I think I can do this. This doesn't seem too difficult to do. Maybe I won't do all the features that exist here. But yeah, I mean, I just need to draw some shapes like these, which doesn't seem too difficult. And I also need to draw the walls, and then just make the camera, the player, be able to move around, and maybe try to do collisions. I'm not sure. But then yeah, I mean, I can just walk out of this world, and yeah, maybe I could make the player jump, and yeah, maybe I can do that in the next video. It should take me a little while, like maybe an hour or two. So yeah, thank you for watching, and goodbye.